All right, everyone. Welcome to the Early Watch. Filling in for Jimmy, I'm Night Strike. And with me today, this morning, we got Tony York. What's going on, Tony?
Good morning, people. Welcome to the all too often familiar Jimmy ain't fucking showing up early watch. Nothing's going on here. I'm just kind of seeing what happens with the day.
Yeah. So there's a couple news articles that have come out over the evening last night that we're gonna go over this morning. Some of the stuff you may have heard late last night in some of the later shows because they might have covered it, but we're gonna cover it again and go from there. I will warn everyone, we're not trying to be broken records, but not. I will warn everyone saying not all the news is good news. Some of it's
Uh,
bad news, but isn't that how it is? You get more
we
bad news than you
are
get good news.
we are basically a news show. I mean, so you report on what you report on.
No. But I want to at least lessen the blow to them. Brace them for impact or whatnot.
Well, today's the National Walkout Day for the school kids, so it's going to be a shitty day no matter what because there's nothing but spin going to come out of this.
Right.
So it's going to be a crappy day no matter what.
So let's get into it. We may have talked about this yesterday, but apparently, Tony, your governor did something good for once.
Uh, he's pretty much pro 2A.
Yeah. For anyone that aren't aware, uh, there was the bill. It was that one that was with the Springfield Armory and Rock River Arms debacle, right?
Yeah, he vetoed it, but that doesn't mean it's dead. Or that does not mean that it's dead because there's enough votes to override him in the House, possibly. They overrode him on the budget, so it's possible that he could be overridden on this. I don't think he will be because I don't think the Republicans give a shit enough about it to do it.
Right. Right. They can still try and override it, but again, uh, at least he's doing something.
Right, and I think that was the point of this. The libs in our state houses can say they passed it, but the governor vetoed it, and the governor could say, "Hey, they sent this to me, and I vetoed this crap." Kind of a political win-win for both of them. And just more of the same, nothing going on here. They're not able to do anything much like our feds, even though we have majorities.
Right. Well, it's good that he is doing something. Before you weren't too sure on him. I remember when this stuff went through last year, you weren't too sure which way he was going to go.
No, because I had not ever heard him speak about the Second Amendment. He just come out uh, with this Parkland thing, and he said that we have enough freaking gun control in this state that he's not going to protect bump stocks if that comes across his desk, and that bugs me too.
Because that could be used as an opening to do more legislation. So
Well, because it'll be written so freaking ambiguously that it can be,
used to take everything away.
yeah.
That's why you don't want ambiguous laws, people. All right, so moving on from that, I had another one. Apparently, this is a small article from the Truth About Guns. Gun reform is un-American. Quote of the day. Uh, One of the guys, I think his name is Kyle Kashuv, is uh, He's against gun control. He says, I do think gun reform is not an American ideology and would be desecrating the sacred document of the United States Constitution, the document that allowed this country to become so great. And I agree with him.
Well, I'm sure that most of us on the 2A side do.
And I'm happy that someone other than ourselves is saying these things, because we need more people saying these things. So that's some good news. All right.
One thing about the school walkout, I was watching it. They had a special report when it was supposed to start on NBC, and I'm watching it, and they said that this was a great way to teach students about their constitutional rights by using their First Amendment right. And I'm thinking to myself, to hamper their Second Amendment right. This is a really great teaching tool.
Yeah, it's a great teaching tool to teach them to protest against their Second Amendment rights using their First Amendment rights, so they have no Second Amendment rights, and they will have no First Amendment rights in the future. Good job, people. Good job. Because if you don't think the second doesn't protect the first, you're a dumbass.
Well,
it's true.
I know that probably the majority of these kids are just walking out to get out of class. I would have.
Either that or they're getting paid. One or two.
I doubt they're getting paid.
No, they have to get paid. With something like this, I wouldn't do it unless I was getting paid, even if I was in school.
Shit, you saying you wouldn't get a chance to walk out of class and kill an hour doing it?
Shit. If I wanted to ditch class, I would ditch class. It didn't matter whether I was walking out or not. I'm just saying.
Shit, I walked out and smoked a cigarette during an eclipse. Once when they let everybody go out for an eclipse. Hell, I didn't have any interest in seeing the damn thing.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. There's a lot of that, just people going to go.
There are a lot of people that are just using it as an out to get out of doing stuff. I'll agree with you there. But then there are some that could probably, I believe that I'm going to take the benefit of the doubt and say that they could give two shits, the left or the right, for gun control or against gun control. And I hope I'm right on that. Because I care not for gun control.
My only problem with the whole thing is this is teaching them that throwing a temper tantrum gets you attention. And that's something that...
Yeah, it gets you the wrong kind of attention.
That's not necessarily. That's something as a parent, I know the folly of that scenario. I guarantee you my kids would have never, ever thrown one of them screaming temper tantrums in the store.
You would have smacked the shit out of them.
Right there in the store, I would have.
And I only say this, Tony, because I've had enough conversations with you to know that is exactly what you do. And I don't blame you.
And they knew I would do it too. Or their mother would.
Yeah.
You know, that's just something that a parent, you want to curb your kids from trying to get their way with a tantrum. And this is teaching them that tantrums can get your way.
Right. So.
But on the other side of it, I don't exactly stand against students protesting.
No, I'm not against them protesting either. They want to protest, let them protest. But one, they need to do it on their own time. Two, they don't need to be getting out of school to do it either. Because they should be in school learning, not going and protesting for something that wasn't even their idea in the first place.
Well,
something that was supplanted by a political party.
Yeah, they have no idea what they're doing, to be honest with you. because, they're protesting against their own future rights before they even get to enjoy them.
Yeah, they're basically handing away their rights. So,
and it's a knee-jerk reaction to a tragedy. I get that, but that's why you're not allowed to vote when you're 12. You're not considered an adult at 14.
Exactly.
Now, unfortunately, the knee-jerk reactions happening to people of all ages. This whole, we've got to do something. Well, I agree. We should do something. Let's do something that works, though.
Right. I agree with you there. And I mean, I understand that they want to be active and they want to do something, and that's great. I approve of them wanting to get out there and be more active, in the world. I approve of that. It's just, don't let others control you and get them to do something that they want you to do without, your input and without you coming up with the idea. Because, they're just, I hate to say this, but these kids are just pawns for the DNC and or just any anti-gunner in general, whether they're a Republican or quite more honestly, a Rhino or Democrat. They're being used as a political tool, and I hate to say, I don't want to say this, but I don't want to see children being used for politics, because it's. I think it's wrong to use children for any sort of political agenda, regardless of what it is.
Well, I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, if you can't make an argument without trying to, you use children as a pawn, then don't make the argument, because your argument is, a fallacy. Anyways, let's.
The problem, they're just not able to rationalize what they're doing. What they're actually asking for. And by the time they're old enough to understand, it may be too fucking late.
All right. Well, it may be an issue where it may have to be, they may have to learn out the hard way of what they've lost. And unfortunately, that's sometimes how it goes. We all have to learn things the hard way, whether we like it or not.
Well, this is the first time since '94 that I've actually, since 2004, that I've actually thought that they might have enough traction to get this assault thing done. I've been writing lots of fucking emails to my politicians and saying, do not fucking do this.
Hell, I've been calling McMaster and Senator Henry McMaster, which is my governor, and I've been calling Lindsey Graham and blowing up his phone line every day.
I wrote 12 yesterday morning, just 3 this morning, just to my big 3, Durbin, Duckworth, and...
But isn't Durbin worthless?
Well, hopefully he'll get the numbers and look at the numbers, but... My state guys are all pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment.
Yeah.
They have to deal with the massive amount more Democrats in Congress, the state Congress, than I'd like to deal with, but that's just the way it falls here.
Absolutely. I'm glad you've at least got that going for you. I'm not so sure how South Carolina is going to go, and hopefully they might pass a law where they don't recognize an assault weapons ban in South Carolina. And that'd be great, because they threatened to do that before with gun laws. With when the government tried to ban the AR-15, South Carolina state, we'll just put a law in place that says we ignore all federal gun control laws. And I don't know whether that passed or that failed, but because I didn't check up on it too much. But regardless, they'll just do it again, and it'll get passed this time, because there are a lot of, while I may have over-exaggerated the number of people employed by manufacturers, but there are a ton of manufacturers here in South Carolina. And if any one gun manufacturer has to close down because of stupid laws, then lots of people are going to lose their jobs. And they're not going to blame they're not going to blame the Senate. You know, they'll most likely blame the local government for letting it happen.
Well, there's not going to be any of that kind of protection here, because nobody has the ass to do it. I mean, there's too many fucking leftists in our government. Our governor would probably be behind that, but like I said, he's going to fold under bump stocks, I'm sure, and that's fucking bad. I don't know, and I really fear if he loses re-election, which he's probably going to, we're going to get somebody that's god-awful.
Well, probably are. All right, so we're going down the rabbit hole of bad news, kids. Here's an article. Texas Senate candidate Beto O'Rourke says ban AR-15 rifles. Yeah, a guy from Texas who's running saying ban AR. He's not going to get elected. But newsflash for anyone that didn't know: Texas loves their guns. By one estimate, there are about 22 million privately owned firearms here in the lone state. So you'd think that any candidate running for office would at least pay lip service to that fact, professing no matter how disingenuously to respect the Second Amendment and the tradition of civilian firearms ownership. It's probably so it's probably a good indicator of the
amount of money that somebody says that he's a supporter of the Second Amendment, but we need to ban assault weapons.
Mm-hmm. So it's probably a good indicator of the leftward lurch the Democrats have made in the past couple of years. The party's candidates nominated to challenge a sitting Texas U.S. senator feels he can or has to declare that civilians shouldn't be permitted to buy AR-15 rifles. Well, you shouldn't be permitted to run for Senate or any office if you do not believe in the Constitution, because that's anti-constitution. And anyone that argues with me, the Second Amendment says it in clear black and white, shall not be infringed. Don't mess with it. That's what it means. But apparently these lawyers think they understand definitions much better than, a 16th century dictionary. Just saying.
Scalia left that fucking door open.
Doesn't mean I have to agree with him.
I don't agree with him. He was fucking wrong on that part of his decision.
Yes, he was. But he left it open, so we're facing the consequences on that one. All right. Anyways, and here's the thing: this guy's from El Paso. El Paso Representative Beto O'Rourke, Democrat, Texas, is proud of his campaign's claim that he shuns Political Action Committee money, PAC money. I doubt that. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that. He criticized Senator Ted Cruz for taking $300,000 from the National Rifle Association and boasted that his campaign has taken $0 from the NRA. He told the
Who
story.
wouldn't fucking give it to you?
Yeah. He told a story about a woman at a town hall who asked him if he could stand up to the NRA. O'Rourke explained that he does not hire consultants, does not talk to pollsters, and does not consult focus groups. Well,
obviously.
Then he knows he's not going to win.
Don't go to South Texas and say ban ARs, you dumb fuck. It's a good way to get out.
Criticizing Republicans for taking NRA contributions is hardly new. You can hear Democrats and the media spouting the same some version of that any day that ends in a Y. So that means every day. Declaring for all of Texas to hear, however, that America's favorite rifle should be banned is more of a worthy note. More of a worthy note. Listen, if you're running for office, you don't declare that a rifle that is equivocally representative of the country you live in, then I'm sorry, but you don't need to be in this country.
What, he don't like Winchesters?
No, he doesn't like, no. The AR-15 or the M16 or any of the Armalite designs are pure American. Okay, Tony? They are what defined, I would say, the 20th century as far as the whole,
No, for fuck's sake, they did not.
We're
Nobody even gave a fuck about them until the 21st century.
No, they've always been around. But the Democrats always seem to want to ban something that looks scary because they don't understand how things work. So, anyways, the article goes on to say, he goes on saying, spouting more bullshit. There is no reason an AR-15, a weapon of war designed for the sole purpose of taking lives, as effectively and as efficiently and in as great a number as possible, should be sold to the civilians to be used in our schools, in our churches, in our concerts, in public life in this country.
I beg to differ with his freaking opinion on that because it's not that damned effective.
Right. O'Rourke said,
pathetic fucking round.
Says, I have no idea how that polls, and I could give a shit what the NRA thinks about it because it's the right thing to do. And I really hope you don't get elected because no thank you. We have a pretty, and from this article it says we have a pretty good idea of how that will poll here. Who knows? Maybe O'Rourke just got carried away pontificating before a receptive gun control friendly social justice warrior audience and dropped a dreaded Kinsley gaffe. Whatever conventional wisdom. Now that the video is out, the Beto has committed political suicide right there on stage. That's it. So if you want to see the video, I can link the video where he committed political suicide. It's at like the 2650 mark, but I really don't want to.
I don't really see that shit.
So, but if you want the link, I'll send it to you. Just message me on Gun Channels or send me an email. So, Tony, you got anything?
No.
No? Great. That means I have to come up with something else. Make me do all the work. I see how it is.
Hey, you want to fucking be a lumberjack, you got to roll the log, buddy.
I roll enough logs, thank you very much. Wait, that didn't sound right.
I haven't looked at gun news for about 10 days, and I don't intend to.
Yeah, it's not all great. All right.
I know it's not all great. I can see enough of it on national news of the morning.
But here's something. This is about the Dick's Sporting Goods debacle right now. And apparently the CEO is warning that Dick's Sporting Goods may lose customers over gun policies. You fucking think? Good Lord. All right. Dick's Sporting Goods expects to lose some customers after implementing new restrictions on gun sales in its stores, the CEO said. Uh, Dick's earnings call Tuesday said it was too early to tell the full impact of the retailer's changes to its firearms policy, though he warned the sales could suffer as a result. Oh, they'll suffer, all right. I'll tell you that.
Well, let's see how much people trust you, seeing as how the last school shooting you did the same fucking thing, and then when it quieted down, you went back to selling them. You hypocritical son of a bitch.
Yep. Which is why I don't shop at Dick's Sporting Goods. All right.
I would not set foot in a Dick's Sporting Goods if they were giving away free guns.
Same here.
Well, depends on the guns, I guess.
If it's like a really nice Browning rifle, would you do it?
I ain't that big a fan of Browning.
Wow. Tough crowd. All right. The announcement was they made 2 weeks ago. It's not going to be positive from a traffic and sales standpoint. Yeah, you fucking think. Jeez. Dick's has been a slight difference. Dick's has seen a slight difference in his hunting business since the announcement in late February, according to the news outlet. He told analysts that sales in other categories might take a hit, saying some of those customers that buy firearms buy other things also. Gee, you don't say.
Really, though, but fucking hunting season's pretty much over with, except for maybe turkey and coyote.
We've had some pushback, and we knew that was going to happen. Dick's also received an outpouring of support for its policy changes. Yeah, I don't believe that. The Pittsburgh-based retailer, known for its sports apparel and equipment, was among the first major retailers to announce tighter controls on its gun sales following the deadly school shooting in Parkland. Yada. Dick's raised the minimum age for all gun purchases to 21, ceased offering high-capacity magazines, and pulled AR-15 style rifles from its Field and Stream stores.
Yeah, but I'll bet you they still got them.
You know what? I'm not shopping at Field and Stream either if they belong to Dick's. Fuck them. Walmart and Kroger also announced that they won't sell any firearms to customers under 21 years old. Federal law prohibits rifle purchases for anyone under the age of 18. The federal minimum age for handgun purchases is 21. Dick's accounted for the potential loss of some sales when drawing up its financial outlook for 2018, including the impact of its new gun sales restrictions. Dick's expects to report consolidated same-store sales in a range of flat to a low single-digit percentage decline. I think they're underestimating it. Shares traded 1.1% higher to $32.88 on Tuesday. Dick's has lost 32.7% over the past 12 months. Well, okay. I think they're going to lose a bit more, but hey, let the statistics show that, right?
Well, Dick's can go suck dicks.
Well, I thought that's why they were named Dick's. Just saying.
Don't know. They're obviously fucking wishy-washy. At least Walmart, when they stopped selling handguns, never just stopped for a bit and then brought it back when it was okay again.
Yeah.
I would have not bought the guns at Walmart that I did had I known that was coming. But I bought mine fucking week before that happened. But I won't buy any more from Walmart because fuck them. One thing, I don't like their policy. Two, it's a huge pain in the ass to buy a gun at Walmart. Not worth the $15 savings.
Yeah. Since I'm waiting on my CWP to come in, because I filled out all the paperwork and hopefully they'll send it to me. But I went to Walmart because they have a couple lever actions that I kind of do want. And I know, Night Strike, shame on you. But
I don't give a shit. You can buy wherever the fuck you want to buy it.
it's just the factor that it's there in town, and I don't have to shop for it online and wait for it to come to my FFL.
I ain't gonna shame you for buying a gun from Walmart. I did.
I've never bought a gun from Walmart before, so I went to the counter and asked them about telling them that I'm getting my CWP, and asked them what the process for buying a gun through their store. That this specific location is if I have a CWP, and they literally just said, if you've got a CWP, then we don't have to. You still have to fill out the paperwork, but we don't have to send it in. So basically, you just give us the money for it, and you can walk out the store with it. Because that's how it is in South Carolina. If you've got a CWP, you're not required to go through. They're not required to go through the whole rigmarole of background check because the state already does that.
If you shop at Walmart in Illinois, you better be sure even if you have a concealed carry permit, you better be sure you have your fucking FOID card too. Even though the state says the concealed carry permit can replace the FOID card, Walmart will not sell you a gun without a FOID card.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to give Walmart money. They have a couple lever action rifles that I've been eyeing in 30-30 for a while, and I kind of want one. I don't know.
You do not level your house when you go to build it. You level it, so it's lever action. And the rest of you people that say it the other way can fuck off.
I may have intentionally did that to get Tony off, to get riled up. So you're welcome, everyone. But yeah, it was something that I had wondered for a while. So I went and asked him about it because I know Walmart does background checks and you have to wait, and sometimes you have to come back the next day because their system sucks. But I do know in most of the FFLs in the state, if you have a CWP in South Carolina, you don't have to wait for them to call NICS. So,
well, in Illinois, they make you pay $2 for the paperwork, $44.73,
right?
And until that's approved, you can't buy a gun. But once it gets approved, then you can come back the next day or whatever it is and buy a gun and walk out with it if it's been 24 hours since it was approved. But it was like the last ones I bought, it was 6 fucking days waiting on them to get back to me that I was approved. And
right.
They only hold the guns back 7 days when you commit to buying them. And I'm like, I went back and said, look, tomorrow they're going to put the guns back because ain't nobody called me. Oh, well, you were approved day before yesterday. We were going to call you tomorrow. Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute here.
Right. I'm going to ask this question out there for the people on the live chat out there because we got a lot of good chat going on out there. Guys, have you ever bought those of you that have CWPs, those of you that don't, have you ever bought a gun at like a large retailer? I don't mean like Cabela's. I don't mean like Bass Pro. I mean like Walmart, Dick's Sporting Goods, one of those places.
Well, at my local Walmart here, I bought 3 guns, and they've all been the same damn thing, cricket. No, 4 of them.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Cricket rifles are good rifles.
No, 3 of them, because I bought the first cricket at my local, and when I went to get the other ones, he didn't have them. He'd have to order them. I fucking impatient, didn't want to wait, so I went to Walmart and bought them. And I think they're $15 less at Walmart, but I got one more to buy to have enough for all the grandkids, and I'm gonna buy it at local, even if I have to order it.
All right. Okay, we got some comments out there because they're catching up now. Vanessa Kitty saying yes in the past. Rob D and Sleazy. Rob D saying not very happy with them at the moment. Well, I wouldn't be
I
don't
got
blame
to.
you.
I gotta say, as far as Walmart goes, while I disagree with them doing it, I ain't gonna fault people for shopping at Walmart. I mean, it's fine and dandy because Walmart has been pretty true to their word about it. Once they do something, that's what they're doing.
Right.
Whereas Dick's is being fucking slimy about it. They did this once before and then backed out when it quieted down. They'll probably do that again.
Yeah, more often than not, they will. Gavin's out there saying I exclusively only support local gun stores. Well, then I hope that your local gun stores are good to you. I've got one that is complete trash. That's why I go and visit the other store, because he actually, takes his business seriously, unlike the other guy.
I shop from 3 locals, and I bought guns from all 3 of them.
Clay is of the same opinion of Gavin, so he only shops locally. The Russ Carr says, "The Sportsman Warehouse count?" Yes, it does. We'll accept that one.
Sportsman's Warehouse online, or do they have a brick and mortar? Because online don't count.
No, that's Sportsman's Guide online. Sportsman's Warehouse is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 different things. I know, because the name, you think they're the same, but they're actually 2 different entities. But
all right, my range has a gun shop in it, which is really fairly high priced. And I bought 3 or 4 guns from them. Most notably because they had the gun I wanted when I walked in, and I was willing to pay extra $50.
And Al W out there understands. Some of us who live in smaller towns don't have much choice besides Wally World. I mean, luckily in my town, if I don't want to go to that local gun store, I don't think he takes his business seriously. I don't go to him. He does strictly just guns. I normally go to the pawn shop that does guns and everything else, and he is much easier to deal with, and he actually wants to do business. He doesn't want to just tell you his sob story. He wants to do business. He wants to be active in the community.
Some of these bastards get it in their head that you don't lose money until you sell something.
Right, even though it takes you 20 years to sell one gun.
I'm like, okay. That's my buddy here that runs the Ford dealership, which is, for a small town, is a high volume dealership. I mean, he's got people coming from all over the country to buy stuff from him because he's competitive. And he's got this mentality with his used stuff. And I'm like, but freaking cars sit there and rot away.
Well, if he keeps it oiled enough, they won't rust. But what I was getting at is, I live in a smaller town outside of Charleston. But here's the thing. I got a pawn shop. They sell guns. Like, half of his store is all guns. So I'm not kidding. It's ridiculous. There's also that gun shop that I don't visit in town. There's the Ace Hardware that sells firearms and ammunition. And then there's, the local Walmart, which sells firearms and ammunition too. So, I've got it a little better off, because if it's like a bolt action rifle, a shotgun, or a lever action, then I'm good. I can find one in town, no problem, wherever I go. I'm fine. But if I need cheap ammo, I can go anywhere. But if I need semi-autos, I have to go to the pawn shop, because he deals in like literally everything you can think of. It's ridiculous. So I don't go to the gun store in town, because he has that mentality, as you said, Tony, where he thinks that everything he's got in stock is worth gold, when some of it isn't even worth half of gold. So
well, my local's pretty good. The one I use, Pekin Sporting Goods, most of the time they're close enough that I ain't gonna bitch. Even close enough to stuff I can find online by the time you figure cost of getting it here. But I'm willing to jump on an opportunity when I see it at the others, and I have. So I will use 3 gun shops. I don't intend to ever order one online unless I just can't get it any other way.
Well, I have ordered guns online, and granted, I've ordered them from Palmetto State Armory, and and the people say, well, that isn't that in state already? Can't you just go to one and do it? Problem is, some of the stuff they have for sale at really good prices online, they do not have for sale at their stores. Okay, some of that stuff is strictly online at the warehouse in Columbia, but not in the actual stores.
I don't think it matters if you're buying online or store from the same source.
Right. Well, the problem, what's I guess some people don't understand that there are the Palmetto State Armory stores that are almost exactly like a Bass Pro store, okay, where they have everything branded their stuff, and then they sell a lot of sporting goods stuff too. That's pretty much a Palmetto State Armory, and what they have in store is not always priced the same as what they have on their website, because they have a huge warehouse in Columbia just for the website and only the website. So I just wanted to get that out there. One of the guys is saying out there that Big Five made him wait 15 days to pick up 2 shotguns just because the manager could not fill out the paperwork. Wow.
Yeah, well, that's not Big Five's fault. That's the manager's fault.
Yeah.
And I honestly won't order guns online because my local has such a fast turnaround. Right. I mean, I took a bit of a gamble ordering 3 or 4 guns from them. So I ordered the Vaquero, the CCP, and that 1895. So I ordered 3, and they had them in 2 days.
Yeah. So
stroke of luck on the Marlin, because he all but said that he didn't think it was going to show up.
But before I went to the pawn shop and started using him as an FFL, I went and did a lot of research on, if you were going to buy a gun online and have it shipped to an FFL, what the process was. And, I went through the companies, and pretty much, I know you don't like to, and some people don't like to, would rather support their local store. And I understand that. I agree with that too. But sometimes if you buy a gun online at a really good price that you couldn't get in a store or a local, then you can see it and inspect the gun before you take possession of it and fill out the transfer paperwork. So if it doesn't look good, you can always send it back and get your money back. But, some people don't want to do that. And some people do. If it looks bad.
With the exception of the Marlin, I had handled these guns before and knew what they were. Yeah. Ruger, I knew what I was getting. I had one. The Walther, I'd handled it before, knew what it was. Thought I knew what I was getting there. I'd never shot one before, and that was an eye-opener, but I knew what it was, so I didn't need to handle it. The Marlin, I didn't give a shit about because I knew how hard it was to get. Right. I mean, that son of a bitch is always sold out. And I would have bought it online had I found it.
Yeah. I mean, I bought lower receivers for AR-15s online, but it's a lower receiver. And yes, I know not all of them are made equally, but for the most part, the ones I've bought are no problems than what you either pick up in the store locally or what you'd get from like one of the PSA outlets. So I have no problems with that.
Generally speaking, when I'm buying a gun, I want to feel it first. I want to feel the specific gun. Because I don't normally buy multiples of the same thing, which is actually not true anymore because I bought multiples of several guns now.
Yeah. And what these politicians don't realize is there is no they remember they say there's the internet loophole, the gun show loophole, but they forget that in order to take possession of the gun and take it home, you have to wait for the proprietor or the seller to call NICS and get a proceed or delay or denial before they give you that gun.
I'm actually looking to pick up double barrel shotguns out there at Wanamaker when I go. It's my main reason for going. So I'm hoping to get them and take them home that day.
Yeah. So it's just, and remember, if you buy a gun online, you can inspect it first. Okay. You can't take it out of the store with you until they do the NICS check. But you can inspect it. If it's not up to what your level of expectations, you can send it back and get your money back. I mean, I've got several, I got a couple handguns from PSA, and I inspected them both times before I took possession and, filled out all the paperwork and took it home. But the thing is, I knew the 92S was going to be a little fixer-upper because it was a cheap Beretta under $400. So, a Beretta 92 for under $400, yes, please. Now, even if it is a 92S and not an FS or an M9 or anything, I just wanted something in that kind of, form factor. All right. And I knew it was going to be a little fixer-upper. I knew it was going to be a little, I'd have to put some work into it. But that didn't mean that I wasn't, willing to do so. Now, the 1911 I got, yeah, it was caked in Cosmoline or packing grease or whatnot. But when I took it out and washed off, and yes, I know I've had some issues with it here and there, but for the most part, it's been it runs just flawlessly. So I've had no problems with that either. But again, not everybody's experience is going to be like mine. I understand that. So all I'm going to tell people, if you do order online and not from your local store, just be careful what you buy.
Well, I can tell you right now that this Walther is not living up to expectations at all.
Yeah, I've heard some of the Walthers lately have been lacking a bit. Well, what's going on with that?
Son of a bitch won't run through a magazine without malfunctioning. I don't care so much because she ain't going to carry it. And I'll dick with it when I feel like it. But no, it come out of the box and first round it malfunctioned. It wouldn't load the second one. And it's done that with every fucking magazine.
So, what are the comments we got out there? So, we've got one of them. Patriot in the Dark saying it's really hard to use the internet loophole. Have to go get a background check from the ATF, etc. And I thought loopholes were supposed to be easy. Yeah, well, they're not, and they don't exist.
You know what they're doing? What they're classifying as internet loophole is the whole gun show, selling them in the parking lot, or Craigslist ads where you go meet up with a private individual and buy a gun via the internet, quote unquote.
Yeah, and Al said when he goes to his local pawn shop, his background check only took like 5 minutes while he browsed their inventory, and quite honestly, that's how it's supposed to be. Or you shouldn't have to get a background check at an FFL to buy a gun, but unfortunately, that's the law, so we have to comply with the law as long as it's not unreasonable. I guess I don't like that, but if it's an unreasonable law, I'm not complying. I'll just tell you that right now.
Well, see, here in Illinois, they don't call the FFL first. They call the state first.
Right.
And our state police has to say a legitimate FOID card holder. And that's the one that takes for freaking ever. Because they're not in 724. But most gun shops aren't open at night, so you're not really ever put in this position. But Walmart happens to be open before they get in there. I bought guns at 7 o'clock in the morning, And
Right.
they weren't there at the state yet, so I got delayed. And those guys at Walmart don't give a fuck if they sell a gun or not. They just tried it again whenever they got around to it, which was like several fucking days later.
Right. Well, it's just the store, I guess. But I kind of like that we segued into this topic because I enjoy talking about guns and whatnot, and this is much more enjoyable than talking about the news right now.
Well, then why did you bring it back up?
Because we're eventually have to go back to talking about the news, unfortunately. Or we can just can it and not talk about news for the rest of the day and talk about it tomorrow.
Either way, we might be reporting on Jimmy's death. Who knows?
Nah, Jimmy ain't dead yet. So that means you can't marry his wife yet.
Why the fuck would I want to marry his wife? I got one already. I want her.
Well, you can move to Utah, take Mrs. Jimmy, and you'll be happy.
No.
I'm sorry. That just felt so funny to say. Anyways, what are we going to talk about now? Wait, you got a topic you want to talk about, Tony? Just anything about guns or anything?
I got a question for the people out in the audience. Any of them got an 1875 Outlaw? And if they do, are they really fucking hair triggers? Because I got two of them, and they are. I mean, scary hair trigger. One of them is especially scary.
We got a question out there. We'll get to yours in a second, but someone's asking, what year is the C and Arsenal license for firearms? Well, what's the
Like
cutoff
50
year?
years old.
Yeah, it should be any firearm that isn't listed specifically, 50 years old or older, right?
Because ARs just started falling under this list last year, maybe the year before.
Now, there is one thing that does I've always wondered about, because some machine guns are also CNR items because some of them are that old, but
They're still
because
covered by 34.
They're still covered by the NFA. So how do you go through getting a CNR machine gun?
A lot of fucking money, probably.
Probably, right? Moon says he was an outlaw in 1870 with whatever you said. Okay, Moon. That would mean you're over 100 years old, Moon.
That's a play on what the gun's called, 1875 Outlaw.
So, Moon, what was your cowboy name? Spittoon Food?
How the fuck did you get there?
Said he was an outlaw in 1870, so All right. Land Run 89 is saying CNR AR will be equals expensive. Yeah, it probably will be.
Probably more so because it would most likely be an Armalite pre-Colt job.
What were the pre-banned full auto ARs, Tony? Do you remember those?
No. M16s. Telling you, back in the day, before the ban expired in 2004, most people did not give a fiddler's fuck about an AR. They were absolutely not on the quote-unquote gun radar at all.
Moon is saying he's actually 13 billion years old. I don't believe that at all. Apparently, Vanessa Kitty is saying, yes, any weapons sold by FFLs in Connecticut are cataloged by the state police. That sucks.
I am absolutely not certain about what they're doing here in Illinois. Anywhere FFL keeps track of them. That's the whole freaking 4473. They list the guns and serial numbers on the form. And that's why if you buy more than a certain amount, you have to fill out more than one form because there's only room for so many. And they don't just let you add another page.
Right. Picture in the Dark says he just bought a Susie 50 for 178, and they've got Star Bs at Century Arms for 206, and that's with the CNR.
I don't know. I'm thinking about getting a CNR because those are the guns I really like. Guns that are 50 years old.
Land Run 89 is saying, 25 years ago, I knew one person that had an AR.
That was kind of where I was going, man. They just weren't on the radar at all. They still had a real bad reputation back then as being very unreliable, even though they weren't.
Russ Carr says no full auto ARs will be exempt from CR. No, they won't be under CNR. Even if they're 50 years or older, they'll be covered under the NFA. So it doesn't matter, Russ. You'll still have to pay thousands of dollars for one.
I absolutely have no fucking desire to own a machine gun. Full auto, except a Gatling gun. I would love to have a Gatling gun, but I don't have $50,000 put down on one.
Well, you know what you could do? You could get the kit and just buy a bunch of SKSs and make an SKS Gatling gun.
No. I want a real, honest to God, 4570 Gatling gun.
Those are expensive.
I get a big fat inheritance from my dad, which is a joke. That's what I would do with it. I would drop 50 grand on a Gatling gun. Some bitch ain't gonna do nothing but go up. Unless I overload it and blow it up, which it's always a possibility. Hey, while I'm thinking about it, those of you who use the little electronic digital scales, most notably the Franklin Arsenal, Armory, whatever the hell they call that, the cheaper one, those things get wonky when the batteries start going dead. So you might want to change your batteries every few months because mine went absolutely fucking stupid and had me loading way over to say that it was the weight I was looking for. So if you're using a digital scale, put some fresh batteries in it every 2 or 3 months, guys. It was pretty obvious that it was something fucked up because you could lift the freaking weight off of the scale, set it back, and it'd give you a different freaking weight each time. But had I not stumbled across that, I would have loaded up a box of 4570 that was about 10 grains overloaded. Because that's what it was telling me, that they were way under what they actually were.
Vanessa Kitty is saying, what year was the Second Amendment ratified by the states? I don't know.
Each one's different. Or you mean the National Second Amendment? That would have been done when the whole damn Bill of Rights was ratified in 1787. think. But each
I
state's
think it's
version
89, not 87.
might have been 87's when we became. Yeah, you're probably right because we would have had the Articles of Confederation first.
Which weren't bad, but they weren't exactly great either. The Articles of Confederation were okay for a while.
Well, they were something quick to get us going.
Right.
But as far as state, and I'm going to use quotation marks around Second Amendment because in each state they're not necessarily the second, but each state's version is dependent on when the state's ratified, became a state, or the last time they amended them. It says, I've got a listing here of all of them, but I'm not going to look because I'm lazy.
Okay, Tony's got a question for you. Tony's got a question. Dano has a question for Tony. I'm running in circles here. How many grains of tight group do you load your 200 grain 44 mag rounds? Also, what do you use for your light 44 mag loads?
For the 200 grain heavy loads, I'm running about between 10 and 11 grains of tight group. I think about 11.5 is max. I'm actually, what my carry load is I backed it off to 10 grains of tight group because I don't need the gun to be fucking elk killer. My light loads, shit, anywhere from 6 to 7.5 grains. And I may even drop that if they turn out to be going faster than I want. I haven't went out and tested yet. I've got loadings going from 6 to 10 in increments of half a grain. So I got to go out and test them, see where I want it to be.
All right. A lot of people are saying 1791. So we might both be wrong.
I know that we technically became a country underneath a federal government in 87.
Right. So, all right. What else do you want to talk about?
Hell, I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm out of ideas.
How many of them out there, their local schools are giving their kids a pass to go, quote unquote, protest? My local here is.
Dano is saying I have a test load of 44 mag with 5.3 to 5.5 grains.
Tight group will work with about any loading you want to put in it. It's not a problem. They don't care. 5.3 is probably subsonic.
He's saying we'll see today how they shoot. Someone said
it won't shoot. You won't even perceive any recoil.
Landrun 89 says always double check with a reloading book, and Dano is saying, yes, I have checked the reloading book. All right, good. He was just asking.
Yeah, that's always great advice, but I'm pretty well set on the limits of tight group in 44 because I blowed mine up. It's slightly over 11 is max with 200 grain bullet.
Philo is out there saying, oh, good. Kids will be penalized around here if they try to go to school.
Excellent.
Wow. Good job.
If they try to go, or if they try
Apparently.
to cut out.
He didn't say.
I really don't have a problem with them doing it as a civic exercise. But if they're being inundated or led to the gun control platform, then I have a problem because teachers shouldn't be doing shit like that. But to teach them about protest, I'm all right with that.
They got to understand how protesting works.
Well, they got to understand why we have a specifically laid out First Amendment, and that's protesting is part of it.
Right.
You know, you're able to stand up before your government and say, I don't agree with this shit, and not be punished for that.
So,
you know, if we're vehemently supporting our Second Amendment rights, we have to just as vehemently support their First Amendment rights. Otherwise, we're fucking hypocrites.
just Dano saying, if I had known that Tight Group load are from 9 to 44 mag, I would only have one powder.
I told you that. You didn't ask me quick enough.
Rob D is saying my kid's school is dividing the gym and has a bell for the snowflakes to ring. That way no one gets in trouble for leaving.
I don't care if they go out there and they want to respect the dead and read off their names or ring out a bell for them or whatever. That's fine. And if they honestly come to the conclusion that they think that gun control is the way to go, they're able to say that.
Right. Vanessa Kitty saying, so kids who are not adults are used to influence the lawmakers to remove guns from society. Yeah, pretty much. They're being used as pawns and tools for anti-gunners to remove your rights.
See, that's different from what I'm talking about. Okay. So if the teachers are instigating this for the purpose of advocating gun control, then that is absolutely fucking wrong. And those teachers should be fucking fired. But as an example of what your First Amendment is all about, hey, I don't have a problem with it. It just doesn't happen to be a message I like. But that's part of what the fucking First Amendment's about. I don't have to like what they got to say.
Right. Let's see. Patriot in the Dark says, I don't care about the walkout. It bothers me that teachers are pushing it. His daughter's teachers are all stink and liberals, of course. Yeah, well, that's how it goes.
Well, if I were you, then I would have kept my child home from school and taken them to this thing myself.
Yeah, Moon Food is wearing the Alex Jones patented aluminum foil hat and saying they should all be protesting globalists. Okay.
They should all be protesting misinformation.
Rob D saying, my daughter has been asked to give a do speech that would make any pro-gun person proud. Good. Good. We need more of that.
Well, it's our job to teach our children. First and foremost, it's our job.
And if they learn things, the right things, then you know what? We did our jobs.
You have to go well beyond the guns are not a bad thing or guns are good, or guns are fun. You have to explain why.
Dan, I was asking, what time do the kiddies walk?
I believe it was 10 o'clock.
So 10 Central?
No, it would have been 9 Central.
Okay, so it was an hour ago.
If they were going to do it all at the same time as across the country, it would have been 9 Central. But they can't hardly do that because school ain't going on the West Coast yet. So I thought the whole plan was everybody was going to do it in their time zone at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I was going to go to this one here just to talk with the kids that I knew and say, hey, this is dumb, but it's only supposed to have lasted 15 minutes.
Yeah, Landrun 89 saying my kid is a state champion trap shooter. Well, good. Dano says peer pressure and those looking just to get out of class will go along. Of course they will. We already said this.
Right, yeah, I'm sure that 99% of the kids in school will go out just to get out of class, nothing else.
And Rob D says the school made it sound like it was just for the dead and nothing about 2A. That's not right.
Well, there's schools out there that are just going out, reading off the names of the dead and going back in. From what I saw, but it's still, the undercurrent is 2A, anti-2A. Kids, when Columbine happened, we had an assault weapons ban, quote unquote assault weapons ban, semi-assault weapons ban, or assault style weapons ban, whatever the fuck you want to call it, in effect. And it still happens, so you're barking up the wrong tree. And that isn't the only one that happened while that assault weapons ban was enacted.
Yeah. Philo is saying the First Amendment is an individual right that protects you from the government. This is more like government forcing kids to protest. And just, there might be something to that. Just a little bit.
I wasn't saying what it is. I was saying why I wouldn't oppose it.
Yeah.
If the teachers and the schools are manipulating these kids, I'm opposed to that. But you walk out in support of causes that you believe in, I don't oppose, even if I disagree with the cause. And I'll do my damnedest to convince you otherwise by telling you the truth. And quite honestly, I could give a fuck less about AR. I don't have any intent on one, or an AK, or any other assault style rifle. Because I don't have that much interest in them, but I'll die defending them. And that's because I understand how these fuckers think to a certain extent. And I know that they want all guns gone. And I'm not willing to give them one. I'm not willing to give them till 21. You can't buy them. Because it's fucking stupid. For one, somebody else could buy and give to you as a gift. Because they're not saying you can't own them. They're saying you can't buy them. So it really doesn't do nothing but make it a little bit more of a headache for somebody who actually wants one to get it. For two, it is hypocritical to say that you're not old enough to be competent to go buy an AR styled rifle or whatever the hell kind of semi-assault style weapon they're talking about, but yet you can go in the fucking army and they can stuff the real fucking deal in your hand and point you at the bad guy and say, kill them. And I really don't think these kids think this shit through.
Right. And Rob D is also out there saying, how many kids don't know that are being used? It's a crime. I don't think anybody should use children for anything other than just, letting them be children. You shouldn't use children, period. You should just let children be children. Shit. Am I saying anything wrong?
At this point, I hate to see this happening in this perspective because they're going to be used. Obvious, because they're just going to be, if nothing else, showed as a video of a crowd protesting against whatever the media says they're protesting against.
Gunpowder Beauty says, these kids believed in eating Tide Pods a few weeks ago. I do not believe that these kids have any thought other than getting out of class. No, that's true. That is absolutely true. But, maybe they should go back to eating Tide Pods, but not really. Because that's, deadly or something.
At least huffing cinnamon.
That might not kill you.
But it'll fuck up your day.
It will. It will, definitely. I know because I've sneezed in cinnamon before. But it's not a fun time cleaning that up, let me tell you.
Well, I don't get where kids ever thought of the idea of taking a tablespoon of cinnamon and trying to swallow it all at once was smart. But hey.
No, it's true.
Tide Pods, there's a reason they don't let them vote until they're 18. And there might even be a case to raise the whole damn thing to 21. Jesus Christ, have you ever talked to any young adults today?
No, I'm gonna take the whole stance on that there is nothing that constitutes them raising the age to 21 unless they raise the military recruitment to 21. Period.
That's what I'm saying. The whole age of adult, everything. No, as long as they can serve in the military, they should be able to enjoy every other fucking right adult in America gets to enjoy: drinking, driving, buying guns, all of it.
Exactly. So, we got some more comments up there.
And I didn't mean drinking and driving at the same time.
No, separately.
Drinking, driving. You got to clarify for some of these fuckers,
Yeah, otherwise you get comment wars on the posted video on gun channels, having to explain yourself, right?
Well, that was actually me saying something that I didn't intend to say.
Right. All right. Patriot in the Dark is saying we should only use children's for sweatshops. Think about it. Maybe take out the trash once in a while. We're not.
You can't
China.
get the little bastards to do anything.
Yeah, we're not China. That doesn't work.
Goddamn, I had 4 of them. I couldn't get them to do shit.
Landrunner United says if enlistment age was raised to 21, no one would join. I think that's the point, Landrun. You should be able to join and use a full automatic weapon and fight for the country, but not come home and buy a semi-automatic of similar style. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not.
We trust you to use a full automatic weapon of war in war, but when you come home, you can't buy one.
Not just that, but you get to use a fucking tank or missiles, rocket-guided shit, whatever the fucking shit they teach you to kill people with.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what I mean by these kids ain't thinking shit through.
Moon's asking, anyone know of a good double mag pouch? Or if A-Care mag pouches are any good? Or Acre mag pouches, excuse me. I have not tried those, so I do not. somebody out there in the chat does, please give Moon a holler and let him know.
I've got a Blackhawk for my 9mm, and I don't use it, so that tells you how good I think it is.
I like what Philo said. Remember when it was okay to say quiet now? Grown-ups are talking? Absolutely.
Actually, that's not a phrase that I ever used. It was get out of here before I beat your ass.
Well, you know, that was part of old man channels.
I wasn't an old man when I said that.
Yeah, you know, Midnight Range TM brought up an interesting point. They could make an exception. If you serve, then you can own firearms under 21 when home. If they made that kind of an exception, I guess that would be okay.
Nope.
But I honestly don't think it's a good idea, regardless, to make exceptions for
Either
some.
you can or you can't.
Yeah, it's the Second Amendment says it pretty clearly. Shall not be infringed, and unfortunately, regardless of whether an exception or not, the law trying to raise the age is a form of infringement.
Yeah, and the only way they can get by with that legally, if you want to go letter of the law, is to raise the age of adulthood.
Right.
I don't want to see any of that happen. I really don't.
Rob D says, my older daughter got jumped for a mock vote for Trump. Then changed. Then charged for trying to fight back. Thanks to it going viral, he got the charge dropped. The schools are nuts around here. Well, Rob, I'm sorry you live in an awful area.
Unfortunately, the schools are getting nuts everywhere.
Yeah.
That's a sad fact. And I don't know how the hell we fix that, because
I don't either.
Liberalism is pervasive in the educational system, and it's god awful for this country. It really is. I'll tell you how I try to fix it is teaching the kids going to school today better. My granddaughter comes in yesterday afternoon after school, comes down here, and I hadn't seen her in several weeks. Climbs up on my lap, and what's the first thing she gets? Gun. Now, this girl's 5 years old. She comes up and gives me a hug, and then she wants to look at the guns. Fine, here.
Well, Tony, there might be hope for the younger generation yet.
And then her first question was, when do we get to go to the range? Because I ain't went yet. So as soon as this warms up, we're going to go, and I'm going to take you by yourself, and we're going to go to the range.
Okay, I have to ask you, Tony. How happy were you when she said that? Surely you had to be ecstatic that one of your grandkids came to you and asked to go to the range.
Honestly, I didn't think about it at the point. I know that my grandkids are very pro-gun. Okay. All of them. And even though I don't hear them talk about it much, their parents tell me that they talk about it all the time when they ain't around there.
That means you've left a good impression.
I haven't really left much of an impression on them compared to the actual act of going to the range and shooting a gun.
Well, you know, sometimes it's just, you know, the time spent with family that matters. You know? Remember, kids are, when they're younger, they're very impressionable.
I know one thing, I won't take the 3 grandsons to the range by myself again.
A little more than you can handle?
No. it wasn't a problem, but it's not at all fun for me to do that because I have to pay so much attention to the two that aren't on the line shooting.
Right.
I won't let all more than one shoot at a time. And my eldest daughter was with me, but she was shooting herself, so she wasn't any help. So I had to keep my eye on these 7, 8, and 10-year-old boys. And it was more than I really thought it was going to be, more of a headache than I thought it was going to be. So I think I'm going to keep it one-on-one. Because when I took the eldest grandson first, it was just me and him, and that was fine.
We got more comments out there. I don't know if I want to read them all. But Al W. is saying, here's what Heller says about the Second Amendment. Like most rights, the Second Amendment right is not unlimited. It is not a right to keep and carry any weapon whatsoever in any manner whatsoever and for whatever purpose.
But that is what it says.
That is what it says, though.
That's where I say that Scalia got it all fucking wrong.
Right, right. Yeah. And Sean Ponery is also saying the Second Amendment is unlimited because nowhere does it say the right to keep and bear arms except for this one and that one. And maybe a few of these two. Yeah, right.
Right. And there is precedence in the Bill of Rights where they did put the ability for some exception, like the unreasonable part of unreasonable search and seizure. There's some questionability about what's considered reasonable.
Right. And we got more out here. Al W saying, unfortunately, SCOTUS has the final say. He also goes on and said, but what does Heller say? But what Heller does say is you can't ban an entire class of firearms. So that might be enough right there to use as precedence to make sure they can't ban an AR-15.
Well, what we need is to get a little bit more conservative of freaking Supreme Court to replace Ginsburg if the old hag ever dies, and for them to say the Second Amendment is absolute as written. For those who read English, it's pretty clear.
And then Patriot Dart goes out of left field and says, I stopped going to auction sites. The progression was leading to a half track sitting in my front yard. Well, I don't blame you, Patriot the Dark, but still.
Half track be cool.
Yeah, a half track would be cool. Yeah, you'd have to probably do some work on it to get it running perfectly, but don't lie to us telling us you don't want a half track. Yes, you do.
I want one.
Yeah, even I want one.
I've repaired bulldozer tracks, and that sucks.
Hell, I work on a diesel tractor all the time. Yes, it's a bit more. I realize that a half-track diesel truck will probably be a bit more complicated than a tractor, but it's still diesel.
That part of it ain't the big bitch, though. The diesels are pretty damn solid and run, but
right,
rebuilding them fucking tracks is a son of a bitch.
Yeah. Plus, if you're going to use it on the road, you have to use rubber tracks instead of the metal ones.
Yeah, I've never tried putting rubber shoes on track.
All right, so
I know it can be done, but
it can be. It's a little pain in the ass from what I hear, but it does work. So, all right, let me see if there's any more comments on Heller and whatnot.
I need a refill. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
All right. Vanessa Kitty wants an Abrams tank. Yeah. Georgia Rebels out there. Hey, Georgia Rebel, how you doing?
Land Run 89 is saying Humvees for 5,000. Yeah, I wish I could get one of those for 5,000, but unfortunately they keep going. 5,000 is the minimum auction price. They usually you end up getting one for like 10 or 20. And Moon says, ask yourself, why has the Supreme Court passed on 7 pro-gun cases in the last year? Gee, I wonder why. Because they can. Yep, I'm all alone by myself here talking to the people. So I'm sorry I'm not too entertaining this morning. It's because Jimmy's not here. Jimmy, the focal point of the early watch, is just not here this morning. So the show must go on. Yeah, I got it, Al. I see it, but I'm not going to go over it right now because I don't feel like reading legalese right now. I don't disbelieve you. So, John Brown Productions saying half tracks are one piece rubber clad. You don't repair, you replace. Okay, you replace them. Okay, good. It's good to know. So, I know, Al. I just don't want to read it. Atypical Jake says, all of you wanting tanks and Hummers while I'm just waiting for the new Tavoris. Wow. No, Tony went to go get some tea, so he said he'd be right back. So, there's no NSA pop. NS Kitty is saying recycle the rubber track. Hey, recycle it if you can. That wouldn't be a bad idea. All right. What else? See if there's anything in the news yet. Maybe some good news. I doubt it, though. No news there. Any news here? Nothing I want to talk about, no. Okay. Yeah, nothing good to talk about. Yeah. Al W. said McDonald versus Chicago also ruled that states are bound to the Second Amendment, similar to Heller. Okay, well, that's good. Patrick is saying, hell, I want an F-22 Raptor and an A-10 Warhawk. You are not alone on that one. Yeah, Vanessa Kitty says, yes, and if the Supreme Court votes us down, we are screwed. Yeah, here's the problem. There's nothing to keep the Supreme Court in check, which I think is, there is and there isn't. And the problem is when you have all the cards stacked in one favor against one thing, there isn't really anything to keep the Supreme Court in check if the Supreme Court rules different than what the law states. So how do you get around that? You don't.
What are we getting around?
Well, Vanessa Kitty mentioned that if the Supreme Court votes us down, we're screwed because there's nothing. Once a Supreme Court decision is made, it's final. There's no getting around the Supreme Court.
It's not. It's not.
It's not?
No, it's not. They can revisit the issue themselves. What the fuck do you think Hillary wanted to do?
But there's also no way to keep the Supreme Court in check either.
Obviously. They're absolutely not supposed to legislate from the bench, and they have been.
They've been doing it all the damn time for the last 20 years. Probably
Scalia's decision included that bullshit that said it wasn't unlimited, just to leave them a fucking loophole. Because we wouldn't be having this discussion if he'd have said back then that it's absolute. Not in the way we're having it now.
Right.
Granted, there'd have been a bazillion lawsuits against all the gun control that's in effect now in every damn state.
Apparently, LW saying this because SCOTUS considers most to a state's right as far as regulation goes. Kitty saying, yeah, those 9 people are the most powerful people in the U.S. They can write anything, but our Congress can then pass another law. And I guess you could just, pass a law to, override a Supreme Court decision, right? Or that goes around it.
I don't know.
Well, there must be something in place to where each of the systems or each of the branches of government can counteract one another, as far as if one goes rogue.
The Supreme Court is intended to be the final authority. Well, you think about it. I mean, they really don't want to say that the Second Amendment's absolute, because then all of the Second Amendment cases would dry up. As it stands in this country right now, it is absolutely impossible to ban guns because the Supreme Court says you can't, except for repealing the Second Amendment.
Sean Ponery is out there saying SCOTUS has one job: to answer one question. Does this case violate the Constitution or not? Anything past a yes or no is an opinion they put out afterwards. And they should be not giving us their opinions. They're supposed to be impartial, non-biased, and rule on the letter of the law, not based on their opinions or emotions.
And I say he's 100% right. We shouldn't be getting these fucking dissenting opinions or the opinions with the decisions. We should get the decision. We don't need to know why.
If the judge is a Democrat, I don't give 2 shits what he has to say as far as his opinion. He either votes yes or no, and he tells us why. But it has to be based on fact and law. It can't be based on feelings, emotions, and opinions. It's got to be based on fact and law and cited. Because some of this stuff, while they're saying, oh no, it can't be black and white. Bullshit, it's written in black and white ink. Sometimes things need to be in black and white, cut and dry. Yeah, sometimes it sucks. But, spirit of the law. There's no spirit of the law. There's the letter of the law. And those letters have definitions. Well, the letters make up words that have definitions, excuse me. But if you ignore the definitions of the law and make judgments based on your emotions and opinions, then you get to where we're at right now.
Right. And we desperately need a conservative Supreme Court.
I would be happier with a libertarian Supreme Court. But that's just wishful thinking on my part.
Well, we couldn't do a libertarian Supreme Court because libertarians don't particularly think that there should be any law.
Well, in certain instances, that's a blanket statement, and that's not what they believe. They believe that the government shouldn't intrude as much as they are right now, because
they believe that they should be up to people to do whatever they want and not harm others.
Right.
As long as it doesn't hurt somebody else. And I'm really not opposed to that whole thing.
Al says the word infringed has never been defined. If it's not defined, it's up to Congress and the courts. Okay, what kind of stupid logic is that? There are dictionaries from the 16th and 17th century stating what the definition of infringed means. What? These people are too stupid to pick up a fucking dictionary? Because it's not written in the law itself? They can't, pull out a dictionary and figure out what that means? They're that stupid? I'm just saying. So, all right. Let's just kill it. I'm done.
Wait a minute. Don't. I'm going to stick something in the side chat for you.
Okay.
Definition of infringed. That's how long it took me to get it.
Let me go paste this over on the YouTube side just for the hell of it. I think I can get it. No, I can't. It's too long. All right. Tony just went and got the definition of infringe because apparently, Supreme Court justices don't carry dictionaries. Infringed, past tense. Infringed, past principle. Actively break the terms of a law, agreement, etc. Making an unauthorized copy would infringe copyright. Synonyms: contravene, violate, transgress, break, breach, commit a breach of, disobey, defy, flout, fly in the face of, ride roughshod over, kick against, and there's more. Act so as to limit or undermine something, encroach on. His legal rights were being infringed. Synonyms: undermine, erode, diminish, weaken, impair, damage, compromise, limit, curb, check, place a limit on, encroach on, and interfere. That's the definition of infringed.
Shall not be any of those.
Damn right. All right, on that note, I'm killing it.
Good day, everybody.
Thank you all for listening. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Hopefully Jimmy will get off his ass and jump in, but otherwise, we'll be back. See you later.
Good day, people.
Should not be infringed.